Hi, I'm Kim Goldup-Graham from the Sewing Revolution. I'm going to show you how to do a fall placement of embroidery on the diagonals using the 6/8 Sewing Revolution. So when you place things on the diagonal, you will end up with a square design. So if you had a little corner design, you would end up with a perfect square. So to do this placement, the first thing we need to do is locate our starting point. So we take our template that we print out with the software we get with our sewing machine, and we're going to place on this line here, between this and this. So that is 1/4 of our circle and our block, and we need to make sure that this will fit perfectly in between those lines. So I just put that up to there. And we can see that that design fits absolutely perfectly between those two red lines there. This red line is straight up the center, and you can see that the starting point of that design is at 4 1/4. So we need to remember that number. So we're going to write that number into the corner of our block, 4 1/4. And take the Sewing Revolution away, and we need to now mark up our block using the block marker with our foundation dots, and also the size of the block that we're going to draw, we're going to be working on. So once again, we mark our 5 center dots. We do this with a water soluble marker so that once we press our work after we've done the embroidery, we don't lose these foundation dots. We're going to mark the 5 central dots in the holes, and a dot through the holes on the halfway of the 12 here. We're also going to mark in the size of the block that we're going to be working on. So we go out here, and let's make this a 15-inch block. So we're going to mark in the slots in the corner of a 15-inch block. That just gives us a little bit of a guide as to where our work will be seated. Take the block marker off, and we position the Sewing Revolution on to the block, ensuring that it's nice and straight. To do that, these 5 center dots that we marked up here with the block marker, we're going to match with the center hole, the 1-inch holes on the vertical and the 1-inch holes on the horizontal. So if we place that on, these outer dots that we marked on the halfway at the 12, we can see them through the 6-inch holes on the horizontal and the vertical lines. Now, this positioning has to be done on the diagonal. So it's these 4 red lines here that we'll be doing our placement. So we'll mark at 4 1/4, which was our starting point, 1 inch below at 3 1/4, 1 inch above at 5 1/4. Move to our next diagonal red line, and we're going to mark at 3 1/4, 4 1/4, and 5 1/4. To our next diagonal line at 3 1/4, 4 1/4, and 5 1/4, and again this diagonal line here, 3 1/4, 4 1/4, and 5 1/4. We will have 4 sets of 3 dots. I'm just making them a little bit darker so that you can see them easily. And these 3 dots are going to become our placement cross. To do that, we use our little 2.5-inch template marker. We're going to match up the 1, 2, 3 dots that we've just marked with the Sewing Revolution with the 1, 2, 3 vertical holes, and then mark in the other holes, ensuring that this little arrow in the center here is pointing in the direction we want the embroidery to be hooped. So that arrow must point to the top of the hoop. We then mark the next one, matching up the 1, 2, 3 dots with the 1, 2, 3 vertical holes, marking in the others, and forming our placement cross. Then again on the third one, matching up 1, 2, 3 dots, the 3 vertical holes, mark in the other holes, and form our placement cross. And once again, we have our 4th placement cross there. So that's our 4 placements that we're going to be hooping up to. When we hoop this up, we make sure that arrow is pointing to the top of our hoop. So once you have embroidered each one of those out, you will end up with a square design of 4. Now, any of these rulers that you'd like, you can get from your local stockist. Try at your local stockist first. If they don't have them, you can get them at thesewingrevolution.com.au. And if you've enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends.